Bye. Hey guys, it's Bihama here. I am 5 minutes late, but I was setting up everything. And today is Sunday, and as I promised, every Sunday from 12 o'clock, I will be reading together with the book. For those who bought it or who downloaded it or who bought the ebook, or those who just want to listen in. Mostly, I'm not going to be reading every single page, but I will be reading the title and just share the experience. And maybe if anyone has a question, you can type it in the comment section. And that's it. So today is story number one. I'm also going to say that I will be limiting this to 15 minutes, but if the story is long, then I can go to 30 minutes, but depending on also on the questions people are asking. Before you begin, I want to thank each and everyone for your support by buying either an ebook or a hard copy, or sharing and liking my posts. Also subscribing to this channel. That way, YouTube can promote the book on my behalf. That's also good. If you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, I was gonna say that one other way you can support is if you bought the ebook or the paperback or the hard copy. Uh, Writing a review of the book also goes a long way, because when a review allows people who are, like, let's say, are going to buy or have intention to buy, when they read the review, they might just be inclined to buy because of the review. So this one is a very short page, so I'm going to read it, then I will share. So it's this is section one, and we are into the story part, and we are on page 3. So it says, wake up call. This is serious. Without knowledge of where to go or to start from, I drove to San Francisco from San Jose, California. I thought that since my friend made that much money there, I went to start my first day there. I didn't know what to expect, but I was just here to make money. So on this, maybe let me just make a comment. Uh, as I shared from the introduction, when I started driving, I got a recommendation or an advice from my Ethiopian friend. So he advised me that he drove in San Francisco and he drove 2 days, and in the weekend, Saturday and Sundays, and he made $500. So I live in San Jose. That's about 50 miles from here. So that's where I'm speaking from, to San Francisco. So that in itself was problematic, because imagine you are driving 50 miles to start, and yet there were people who needed rides right from here. As we read along the book, you will learn that actually San Jose, Sunnyvale, Mountain View, Palo Alto, Menlo Park, which is the home to Facebook. And by the way, all those cities, most major companies in the world actually live there. I'm talking about Facebook, Twitter, Google, Apple, Intel. So just to name a few. And there is also Nvidia, which is a most chips. These guys make most chips that you see in your phone or your laptop or your computer. So it was definitely it was maybe a reasonable decision to drive all the way there, but I just didn't know what to do. So that's basically what I meant this paragraph. I woke up early and drove in rush hour traffic to get there on time. So here, if you live around the Bay Area or where we live, I think out around the world, this place is known as Silicon Valley. The traffic is extremely heavy before Corona. So if you want to go to San Francisco in the morning, by 5 o'clock you have to be out of the way. Otherwise, by 6, it will take you 2 hours to get there. So I got a Lyft shared request, one person followed by two more requests. So a Lyft share ride is basically where uh, different people request ride, but for the same trip. So for example, if I'm driving from San Jose to San Francisco, uh, more than one, because my car can carry up to four people extra, which means a total of five, including me as a driver, which means four people can be in the car requesting at different times. So with that, I just want to clarify that also, because when I say shared ride, sometimes people didn't understand what it was. So I picked up the first person, went to the second, and then to the last one. Dropping off was supposed to be was to be smooth, since all the riders were going to a low traffic area. When I started driving, calling in was fast. Calling in basically means calling to Lyft or Uber just to request for support. I would hardly wait longer than 2 minutes, but these days I can wait longer than 10 minutes. After sometimes I get a message or email in response to my questions about rides. First, when you start driving, know the area. It might surprise you that as of today, I know exactly where to go and at what time. For example, I know that when it is on a weekday morning, I need to be in the Tasman and First Street area because I know that during these hours, most people are going to work either in Sunnyvale, Palo Alto, or Menlo Park. That's home to Facebook, by the way. In the afternoon, it is better to stick around the Valley Fair and along Stevens Creek Boulevard to Stanford University. So basically, you keep going toward the western part of the city. While in the evening, I need to be in East San Jose. That's my home city. This is a result of many months of calling data, and I statistically did the math. So basically, um, I collected different data based on a day, and then I aggregated them using statistic formulas, and then I came up with the probabilities. So it was eye-opening that I no longer must worry because at any time of the day I can go to any of these places and get rides, and my day will be great. I also know that San Francisco is not the right place to drive if you want to make good money quicker. In San Francisco, there are a good number of ride-sharing users, but usually rides are short. So basically, that's the story number one. This is basically sharing more on how it is to get right. So driving, like I said from the start, I would drive from San Jose to San Francisco, which is 50 miles away, and yet there were people who needed ride actually from San Jose. So lack of knowledge also was difficult. Let's say lack of knowledge led me to being an efficient worker. Because driving 50 miles, the time I used, the gas I spent, it would have been much easy. I would have saved it. Supposing that I knew that even in San Jose they were right, or I can just keep working until I get to San Francisco with that instead of just waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, drive straight to San Francisco without having the app on. So then again, as I said, it's always good when we educate ourselves. Going to school did really help a lot because once I started collecting data, I knew I collected, for example, like in the morning when I woke up, where did I get rides? Which one were longer? Which one were short? So I took note every time I dropped somebody. And after months, I believe I did like I believe it's like 6 to 7 months I collected data, and I was able to come up actually with a formula of where or how I can make money. So I ended up concluding that in the afternoon it was usually easy to be in East San Jose. Then I would from east, then I head west. But in the morning, I just knew I have to go straight north because that's where most the engineers working at Google, Apple, Facebook, Twitter. There is another company. They make the tax software that's they are in Palo Alto. They are in part in Palo Alto, part in Mountain View. So I knew majority of people live there. So, and by the way, there's many other big companies that have offices around here. So I knew that's the area where most engineers stay. And so with that, I knew also that if I get right from San Jose to Mountain View, that's about 8 to 7 miles, maybe. That's maybe $10 to $20 or $20 if if it's rush hour, because if it's rush hour, it's expensive. So I was able to collect all those information, and once I crafted, the once I put the statistics, into perspective, it didn't really matter. Even today, it doesn't matter if I was to go out. It really doesn't matter when I start because I know exactly where I have to be, and I know I will make the money. Sometimes even myself I will be surprised because in the morning I will just say, oh no, this morning I'm gonna have a meeting. Maybe there is a meeting I'm going to attend to it, and at 2 p.m. I will start working. If I worked from 2 p.m., like before corona, if I was to work from 2 p.m. until 9, let's say, or 8, that's 6 to 7 hours. Most likely I will go home with at least 250 or $300. But if I started in the morning, to in morning, usually I would start at usually around 8 until 12. Then I will come home, go exercise, and get lunch. And then at 3 p.m. or 4, which is rush hour, then I will go back. So I average about 7 to 9 hours, depending also on the need for the money. So if I needed more, then of course I stayed out longer. With that, I think that's what I can share on this first on this first encounter. I also should say share this, and I had difficulty with my editor when, if you notice, there is a part that says having a little. So having that when I talk about ride sharing, there was actually a story uh, that uh, that said, so where these three people, when one of them, I forgot to because when you go to pick up somebody, once you arrived, you are supposed to arrive them, which means you are telling the system that you have somebody in the car. So I forgot to arrive the person, and so when I left, I ended up coming back to where I started, and that irritated some of the one of the riders. So I think that, but of course, like I just shared a minute ago or a few seconds ago, my advisors just say no, it wasn't necessary to put it in. But yeah, so that's just another side, which is why, by the way, I decided to share some information, because there were some things that I believed maybe should be there, but then my advisor, okay, no, 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 maybe this shouldn't be there because because of this particular reason. But so that's basically where uh, that's basically where what um, what I can share today. But it seems as if the this section one is continuous in section two, which means eventually I'm going to clarify into more on this when we next week, next Sunday, when we actually tackle number two. With that, unless if no question in the comment section, but if you have a question, please feel free to reach out to me and I will be more than happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm wishing you a happy Sunday. Thank you and have a good day. And for East Africans, hello and good evening. Bye bye.